Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel.
So he just told you the audience. He didn't say the whole world. He said, hear the words speaking to you, O house of Israel.
Right.
Verse 2, thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen.
This ain't me saying it, this ain't Pastor Porkchop saying, nobody else saying this. The Lord said, learn not the way of the heathen. Now he said, we're the house of Israel. Outside of that is the heathen. It's the other nations.
Gather yourselves together, a nation of desire. Gather yourselves together and lift your heads up high. Gather yourselves together, nation of desire. Gather yourselves together, 'cause you're not alone. We've gone a week, yeah, in captivity. Captivity is tough, y'all. Looking forward to see Matthew 12 and 50. Gather yourselves together, a nation of desire. Gather yourselves together and lift your heads up high. Gather yourselves together, nation of desire. Gather yourselves together, 'cause you're not alone. How can we not enjoy ourselves? And uplifting one another. Gather yourselves together, a nation of desire. Gather yourselves together and lift your heads up high. Gather yourselves together, nation of desire. Gather yourselves together, 'cause you're not alone. Oh, gather yourselves as that day draw nigh.
Separate money in the world.
And uplift one another.
For one cut of a tree out of the forest. One cut of a tree out of the forest. The work of the hands of the workmen with an axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good.
Right, so he's talking about a tree here. He's talking about a tree and giving them persons like certain characteristics. Because people used to worship trees. These were idols. So then when we put this tree around, what are we representing? We represent the same as that tree. So we gotta, now we know, all right, we shouldn't be idolizing trees.
Right.
Well, we're just doing it for the kids, but what are you teaching them?
Right.
Mic working? See the light under the computer? See it?
Yeah.
Everything good?
Yeah.
All right, shalom, everybody. Most High in Christ bless y'all. I'm your brother Jacob, and today we're going to do the Feast of the Dedication. We're going to get into what that is all about. I think we're in, day 4?
Yeah. Well, 3. At a count.
So we're well into the feast. All praises to the Most High for even allowing us to be here today. And we're going to go into the Maccabees and the Feast of the Dedication and, look at the spirit that our brothers was in. And the fact that all of this stuff was prophesied, by the way. But let's open up with what our usual Ezekiel 3 and verse 11.
Shalom. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 3 and verse 11. And go, get thee to them of the captivity, unto the children of thy people, and speak unto them, and tell them, Thus saith the Lord God, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear.
Right, so out to the people of the captivity, meaning our people who have been scattered to the four corners of the earth for our disobedience, for not keeping the commandments of our God. He has done these things to us. Let me Jeremiah real quick. Just touch on something real quick. Jeremiah chapter, I believe it's chapter 3. No, I'm on 2. Chapter 2. Jeremiah chapter 2 and verse 13.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 2 and verse 13. For my people have committed two evils. They have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters, and hewed them at cisterns, broken cisterns, that can hold no water.
Yeah, our people in all kinds of religions, and when you examine them, they can't hold no water. They're leaking. Ain't no understanding in them. Next verse.
Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled?
And for that disobedience, we're constantly cast into captivity. Captivity after captivity. And we're yet this day in the land of our captivity. One more. Hebrews chapter 2. I'll show you what Christ did for us and only us. Start at verse 12.
Chapter 2?
Yeah, Hebrews 2 and verse 12.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 2 and verse 12. Saying, I will declare thy name unto my brethren. In the midst of the church will I sing praise unto thee.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I will put my trust in him. And again, behold, I and the children which God hath given me.
See, I and the children which God hath given me. Go ahead.
For as much then as the children are partakers of flesh and blood, he also himself likewise took part of the same, that through death he might destroy him that had the power of death, that is the devil.
Right. Now, you know, see in verse 13 it said, I and the children which God have given me. See, that's in that's Isaiah 8. People don't understand these prophecies. A lot of these prophecies are directly talking about Christ. They don't get it. Paul does, though. Paul understands it. Mm-hmm. Keep going.
For as much then as the children are partakers of flesh and blood, verse 15, and deliver them who through fear of death were all their lifetime subject to bondage.
Right, us. We, the children of Israel, he's delivering us who through fear of death were all their lifetime subject to bondage, in and out of captivity. Always some kind of calamity happening to us because of our disobedience. And to this very day, we have our enemies telling us we don't have to be obedient to the Lord. We just got to believe.
And it's by design.
Yep.
It's keeping us in sin, and it keeps us at the bottom. Allows them to be in their leadership roles.
And you know what? We're going to read that same thing in this fight right here in the book of Maccabees. All right, let's I know I wanted to hit a couple of things first. Let's go to the book of Daniel. I'm going to skip that one. I had numbers up there. We don't need to go that far back.
That's going to...
Huh?
That's going to...
Share the what? Oh. Oh, no. Them fools in the comment section. You talking about them?
Yeah, I would.
No, them fools in the comment section. No. Foolishness. It's a. What Ozai said, the land of misfit toys. All right, Daniel chapter 8. Go straight to verse 3.
The book of Daniel, chapter 8 and verse 3. Then I lifted up mine eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns. And the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before him. Neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand. But he did according to his will, and became great. And as I was considering, behold.
Hold on a second. So this is talking about the Medo-Persian kingdom. And the higher horn was Darius the Median. And they were in rulership of the earth at that time. Where we at?
Verse 5.
Yeah.
And as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes.
Right. The goat had a notable horn between his eyes. Go ahead.
And he came to the ram that had 2 horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in the fury of his power. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him,
Hatred.
and smote the ram, and brake his 2 horns. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him. But he cast him down to the ground, and stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken.
Remember that, y'all. When he was strong, the great horn was broken. Go ahead.
And for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven. And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great, toward the south, and toward the east, and toward the pleasant land.
Man, this is when we get into the book of Maccabees, for y'all that don't know, this is a deep prophecy. Even in Daniel 11, somebody said, that was a few weeks back, might have been Hosea, he was looking at these prophecies and he was amazed. Like how, because this thing is broken down into what happened when they were fighting against each other in chapter 11. But anyway, go ahead. Read on.
Verse 10. And it waxed great even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the hosts and of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them.
That's not talking about in the sky. That's talking about Jerusalem, our heaven.
Yeah, he magnified himself to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifices was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down.
So y'all get that? The host of heaven is talking about Jerusalem. And this is talking about the abomination of desolation. That's what it's going into right here. Go ahead.
And an host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression, and it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered.
So it was given to them to cause this desolation because of transgressions. Always the same thing over and over, especially with the leadership of Israel. Whether it's the northern kingdom or if it's the southern kingdom, the problem has always been with the leadership. When you read in a real popular book these days, Kings, when you look in the book of Kings, you start reading about the northern kingdom over and over and over, you see, and he did as his father did and was wicked in Israel. Every now and then you'll see one, he broke down the images and did that was right in the sight of the Lord. But for the most part, it was all he was wicked like his father was. Go ahead.
Then I heard one saint speaking, and another saint said unto that certain saint which spake, How long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice, and the transgression of desolation, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden underfoot?
See, so this is prophesying everything that's going to happen. You still, to this day, you got the Christians and the Jewish people waiting for the abomination of desolation. Are you kidding me? When the Edomites were in the sanctuary, that's the abomination of desolation. It happened twice. It happened with the Greeks and it happened with the Romans. And what they both do?
They abominable sacrifices.
And burnt the temple. Yeah, and burnt the temple to the ground. What is it with them and fire? Remember that movie they made, The Quest for Fire, when they learned how to make fire with sticks?
I ain't see
Caveman making fire with sticks. Last verse, verse 14.
And he said unto me, unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed.
See, so all of this whole thing is prophesied. You have Christians, Protestant Christians that say, oh, that's not canon. The Apocrypha isn't canon. Daniel's prophesying about what's going to happen and what's told in the book of Maccabees. And when you read in the book of Maccabees, the whole thing was shortened. It was abridged. They had much more detail, but they abridged it. Jump to verse 20.
The book of Daniel, chapter 8 and verse 20. The ram which thou sawest having 2 horns are the kings of Media and Persia.
Right.
And the rough goat is the king of Grecia. And the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king.
That's Alexander the Greek. I'm not going to say the other word. Alexander the Greek, because there was nothing, he was not that other word. Keep going, read down to 24.
Now that being broken, whereas 4 stood up for it, 4 kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power.
Hold on, so 4 kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not of his power. This is going into his generals. We'll get into that later. Go ahead.
And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up.
Antiochus Epiphanees. Go ahead.
And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper, and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people.
Right. All right. You can. That's it for chapter 8. Read chapter 9 and verse 1.
The book of Daniel, chapter 9 and verse 1. In the first year of Darius, the son of Ahasuerus, of the seed of Medes, which was made king over the realm of the Chaldeans.
Right. So this is. I just wanted this verse to show you that Darius is the king of the Persians and the Medes. Now, First Maccabees 1. Oh, let me go to I think it's second. Second Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 23.
The book of Second Maccabees, chapter 2 and verse 23. All these things, I say, being declared by Jason of Cyrene, in 5 books, we will essay to abridge in 1 volume.
So it was a whole lot more, but it was abridged. It was shortened. The First and Second Maccabees, it was shortened. Go ahead.
For considering the infinite number and the difficulty which they find that desire to look into the narrations of the story for the variety of the matter, we have been careful that they that will read may have delight, and that they that are desirous to commit to memory might have ease, and that all into whose hands it comes might have profit.
All right, last one.
Therefore to us that have taken upon us this painful labor of abridging, it was not easy, but a matter of sweat and watching.
Right, so it was much more to this, but it was abridged. Now, First Maccabees 1 and 1. Just like so in Daniel, Daniel prophesied, and then you see First Maccabees is the fulfillment of many of these prophecies in Daniel 8 and Daniel chapter 11. It's the same way with the Old Testament and the prophets concerning the New Testament. It's the exact same way. The fulfillment of the prophecies. It's not some completely new thing. It was all prophesied to happen and all concerning the God of Israel and the children of Israel. First Maccabees 1:1.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece.
Right, so that's why we went over all this in Daniel, just showing you who the players are, and then but now it's named that he go and it had a notable horn, Alexander, the son of Philip, and then they smitten Darius, king of the Persians and the Medes, and he was of the seed of the Medes. Verse 2.
And many made wars, and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth, and went through to the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him. Whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up.
Jump down to verse 5.
Verse 5, and after these things he fell sick, and perceived that he should die.
So everybody knows, well, when you get to a certain age, you realize that the Greeks were, for lack of a better word, and not being censored, LGBTQ plus LMNOP. So that's how they got down back then. Even when you look at these people, their women became famous because of their actions on the island of Lesbos. That's how these people roll. So anyway, he got sick at a young age. He died within 12 years of him coming into power. Go ahead.
Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive.
So he parted his kingdom, and then later on, in the book of Daniel tell you, it breaks it down how they fought against each other for power. But his generals were Cassander, Lysimachus, Seleucus, and Ptolemy. Keep going. Oh yeah, there it is. Right there in the next verse.
And his servants bare rule every one in his place. And after his death they all put crowns upon themselves, so did their sons after them many years.
Miss verse 7.
Sorry, verse 7. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died.
Yeah, so yeah, within 12 years he died. That's how they got down though. Verse 8.
And his servants bare rule every one in his place. And after his death they all put crowns upon themselves, so did their sons after them many years. And evils were multiplied in the earth. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanees, son of Antiochus the king, who had been in hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks.
Man, look, when you have time to go into history, like them and the Romans. So it was the Roman. Does it say it was Rome? Yeah. There was a lot of stuff going on. So he was, a couple of them was held hostage. One of them's dad. It's crazy. But Esau is greedy for power. They greedy for power. They be killing folks. You have dudes, some of these men are ranked, they're not even old enough to be anything in our kings, being set up because their daddy got killed. Their daddy got murdered, assassinated. But that's how they roll. I ain't lying. I'm not gonna lie. When you look at the kingdoms on the other side of the world, I don't hear nothing coming out of China, Japan, Indonesia. They you'll see them arguing. Well, that's always the white man is involved in that. like India with Imran Khan and all that stuff that was going on over there about a year ago. But you don't see most of these people. You don't see assassinations. Even when you look at the Africans and the stuff they're going through right now, they're trying to get rid of the Western, meaning white folks, European nations setting up puppets in their land. And they're trying to get the puppets out. Did they kill them? They didn't assassinate none of them. I think Burkina Faso, the last one I heard of, they trapped the dude in the house. And he was crying out for people to help him. They didn't murder them folks. They took them out of power. But now Esau, them dudes, when you look at the 12 Caesars, they ran. The first one reigned 40 years. The rest of them was real short because they was assassinating each other. But that's how they roll. Where we at? What verse we at?
11.
Okay.
Verse 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
You see, and that's not the right attitude to have. That's not the right spirit to be in. When you look at our forefather Moses, he chose to be with his people rather than stay in the house of Pharaoh. Go ahead.
So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein, that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the customs of the heathen.
Now, according to the customs of the heathen, they would do it. They wrestled naked. It was like if P. Diddy and all his buddies out there with some baby oil. I don't know what they used back then. Even though, what's the movie with Leon Phelps? And he was like, he said, I want to challenge you to Greco-Roman wrestling. And the wife yelled out the window, use the oil. Will Ferrell was in that jam. That's how they rolled.
Oh, they were college students again or something?
No. It was the latest man.
And
Leon Phelps looked at him and said, man, you're surely gay. It's like, no, I don't want to wrestle you. And they built that in Jerusalem, yo. They built that in Jerusalem. In one of my books, it says that the Jews were shocked to see that. Like, we ain't supposed, you know what I'm saying? You're not, in our law, you ain't supposed to do that. Verse 15.
And made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief.
Right, so that shows you circumcision, being uncircumcised isn't just about your foreskin. So they turned their back on God, became uncircumcised. That's what Paul is saying. Let's take this opportunity. Romans 2. Romans chapter 2 and verse 25.
The book of Romans chapter 2 and verse 25. For circumcision verily profiteth, if thou keep the law.
So this circumcision is talking about them sacrificing animals, being in that. Go ahead.
But if thou be a breaker of the law, thy circumcision is made uncircumcision.
Right. So if you break the commandment, now you're uncircumcised. They ain't talking about your foreskin. Keep going.
Therefore, if the uncircumcision keep the righteousness of the law,
those that didn't get circumcised but keeping the commandments otherwise, go ahead.
Shall not the uncircumcision be counted for circumcision? And shall
he just saying, as long as they keeping the law, ain't they good? Go ahead.
And shall not uncircumcision, which is by nature, if it fulfill the law, judge thee, who by the letter and circumcision doest transgress the law.
Right, do by the letter and circumcision, sacrificing animals, transgress the law. Go ahead.
For he is not a Jew, which is one outwardly, neither is that circumcision which is outward in the flesh. But he is a Jew, which is one inwardly, and circumcision is that of the heart, in the spirit, and not in the letter, whose praise is not of men, but of God.
Paul can be confusing, but that's where he's going with that. If you stop keeping the commandments, you have made yourself uncircumcised.
Yeah, people, like you said, stop thinking carnal. Christ is here to bring the spiritual.
But they want to attribute them. They want to make themselves Israel, and then appropriate everything that belongs to Israel to them. Let's go to verse 31. First Maccabees 1 and 31.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 31. And when he had taken the spoils of the city, he set it on fire and pulled down the house and walls thereof on every side.
So this is talking about Antiochus Epiphanees.
1.
Yeah, 1 and 31. So this is Antiochus Epiphanes and what he's doing to Jerusalem. Now, anybody, like when you see people saying, we found Jewish DNA in Israel and blah, 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 pay attention to these next few verses. So even before the Israelites, the original Israelites, were in the land, you had Canaan and other folks in there, been living in there.
Verse 32. But the women and children took they captive and possessed the cattle. Then builded they the city of David with a great and strong wall and with mighty towers, and made it a stronghold for them.
See that they made the city of David a stronghold for them. This is other people running our land. Go ahead.
And they put therein a sinful nation, wicked men, and fortified themselves therein.
So if somebody talk about DNA that they found, I don't pay that no mind. Because we're just constantly in and out, in particular out of the land, constantly. Go ahead.
Excuse me. They stored it also with armor and victuals. And when they had gathered together the spoils of Jerusalem, they laid them up there. And so they became a sore snare. For it was a place to lie in wait against the sanctuary, and an evil adversary to Israel. Thus they shed innocent blood on every side of the sanctuary and defiled it. Insomuch that the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them. Whereupon the city was made an habitation of strangers, and became strange to those that were born in her. And her own children left her.
See that? So this is why when I see folks arguing about DNA, I just stay out of it. I be like, man, unless you have the DNA of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, I'm not even having a conversation with you. Until you have that, when you get that, then we can talk.
Jerusalem was trodden down by the Gentiles, man.
Yeah, back then, plenty of times. So this is just with the Greeks. Before this, it was the Babylonians. And most of us were moved out of the land, and they put in strangers out of the land. We was just reading over that. We was just reading that before class in Ezra. And named all these different nations, all these different people, and they put them in the land. And that's during the time of Babylonian captivity, during the time of the Assyrian captivity. Then you got the Greeks here, and they got their own people in here. Then after this, then you got 70 AD, and then all the way up until today. And you're going to try to give somebody's DNA and say, these are the people? No. This is why our DNA is Deuteronomy. Matter of fact, our DNA is Genesis to Revelation.
There you go. That's right.
Where we at?
Verse 39.
Yeah. Read 39.
Her sanctuary was laid waste like a wilderness. Her feasts were turned into mourning. Her Sabbaths into reproach. Her honor into contempt.
Damn, see that?
As had been her glory, so was her dishonor increased. And her excellency was turned into mourning.
Yep. Jerusalem was turned into mourning.
Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people.
That sounds just like the Edomites. That all should be one people, but we're going to be ruling.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
And everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king.
And it's the same thing they pushing today. You don't need the commandments. See, the commandments are good, but you don't need them for salvation. You're the devil. You're the devil. People get offended by that word, but it means that you're the deceiver. You're deceiving God's people. Like we read last week in Jeremiah, you're convincing the people to rebel against the Lord. His people to rebel against him. Go ahead.
Yeah, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols, and profaned the Sabbath. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land.
This, you know what this sound like? The groups that we be in. Because who are the top dogs in there? The Antiochans, the Europeans. They the top dogs in there, and then they're
and they get one of them Israelite brothers to go with.
yeah, and then our people come after us. They join to them and then come after us.
They the leaders and they make our people the moderators.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, the first line of defense.
The only time the leaders come after us is when one of their moderators getting crushed.
Right, right when they getting crushed.
And like I said, most of the moderators are Jakes, especially in that group. The folks that Jake can get in.
I can't get in them either.
Verse 44, for the king has sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land, meaning the laws that they are trying to force on Israel. Go ahead.
And forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days.
Just like today. Oh no, God's day is on Sunday. And then on God's day, you're not bound to any rules. You can do whatever you want. Let's go to Golden Corral.
Let's cook breakfast.
Right, yeah. The swine's flesh. Well, we can eat pork. It was cleansed. It was cleansed in
Just have to give thanks.
in Timothy. It was cleansed. Go ahead.
And pollute the sanctuary and holy people.
That's the point. Pollute the sanctuary and the holy people. In specific, the holy people. Go ahead.
Set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts.
Sacrifice. You know, it's frustrating that they were forcing this on our people back then, but today our people fight for that. Oh, I got to give up my pork. I can't give up my pork.
And we see it a lot. Going out to the streets, they be like, not the pork. My grandma ate her whole life. She didn't get nothing wrong with her.
That's the most nasty, disgusting animal, man. I even saw it was some video the white guy was on there saying that when the Bible tells you that these certain animals you're not supposed to eat, he said those animals have a job. We've been saying this for years. Them animals have a job to clean all the filth off the earth. And then you gonna eat that?
You wonder why the ocean's so dirty?
Right. You wonder why you so sick.
Y'all got mad at Virginia Beach a couple years ago when the flesh-eating bacteria came.
It's been almost every summer the last 3 years.
Because y'all keep eating the
It's in different parts. Last year it was in Hampton.
I remember a couple years ago they had everybody shook to go to the beach.
Yeah.
Somebody got the flesh-eating bacteria. Well, y'all killing the beast that's supposed to eat the flesh-eating bacteria.
Then you put that unclean animal in you. Like it's like they can't do their job, and then you're eating the filth that they've been cleaning up.
Like the Edomite lady on that show, Monsters Inside Me. She almost died. Her arm swelled up. She woke up. It was hard for her daughter to get her to wake up, and when she woke up, she had streaks on her arm, running down her arm.
Because she had like a worm or something.
And then they took her to the hospital and gave her an antibiotic or something. And the next morning when they came to check on her, her whole arm was swollen. So it was something eating her alive. And it almost killed her. Somehow they saved her. But you know where it came from? She was washing crabs.
And got cut.
And got cut. And the bacteria inside the crab got in her, almost killed her. The Lord said, don't eat this stuff for a reason. But you know Edomites anyway. They going to tempt the Lord, yo.
You used to go to Red Lobster. Tell them why they have live crabs and live
Right.
Yeah, like that stuff, it's already filled with so many bacteria and viruses that the best way for you to eat it is to eat it like from like when you go in the Red Lobster or something like that. They eat something back in the day at Walmart. It's the live lobsters. Because as soon as you kill them, that stuff skyrockets inside their body. And I brought it up plenty of different times. Like that was not a delicacy food always. It was prisoner and slave food.
I saw videos with Shannon Sharp. And Shannon Sharp the other day, he was telling me how he was talking about how he used, in his back where in South Carolina, wherever the country he used to live at, they didn't, they couldn't, they couldn't afford like chicken, beef, whatever the case may be. They had to eat what they had. And a lot of times they had raccoon, squirrel, basically roadkill that you could find.
Crawfish.
He was basically saying like, he didn't have like for example, the cow. They didn't have premium beef. They had oxtail. They didn't have salmon. They had crabs and sea fish. A lot of that stuff that we ate back in the day, we eat it because we had to. Now a lot of these things, and now of course oxtail is lawful, but he said oxtail, things that were detestable, oxtail, crabs, lobster, those right there were cheap and not good for you to eat back in the day. Now they're trying to make it a delicacy.
Yeah.
And again, not saying oxtail is not lawful, but case in point is a lot of those foods that they eat.
No, that's probably all they could get off of the cow was the tail.
Yeah.
Right. The butcher take everything else, give you that.
Yeah, it take you know how long it take to cook oxtail? That ain't it's tough. That's why I gotta cook so long. Where we at?
48.
48.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
Verse
I wanted
40
to skip some stuff here, but we can't right here, man. Everybody needs to hear this. If you're not, this is your first time hearing about the Maccabees, you got to hear this stuff. Especially when somebody tell you there's neither Jew nor Greek, brother. Look at what the Greeks did to us. The ethnic Greeks, the Macedonians, the Edomites is what they are.
My aunt said 3 to 4 hours. His wife be cooking,
Yeah. most people out there, they put them in the crock pot and let them cook.
Yeah, it's tough.
Verse 48, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances.
See, that's the point. So you got 2 points in all of this. Verse 46, to pollute the sanctuary and the holy people, to pollute us. And then 49, that we might forget the law and change all the ordinances. That's the whole, and do what they do.
And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die.
Yes, you had to die.
And I am not going to try to stretch this out, but like this is simple. Like this looks exactly like what happened to us in American slavery. We came over here knowing who we were, and you get brainwashed, and generation after generation now, they don't get taught the foundation they should have had. And you took on all these American ways, all these European ways and customs. And then we taught our children to do the same thing and the same thing. And now we're here today trying to wake our people back up, but this is the same thing happened to us back then.
Mm-hmm.
The same exact thing. And if it, I'm going to bring that out later. But yeah, it's the same thing over and over. We got our heritage taken away from us.
Continue on.
Verse 51. In the selfsame manner wrote he to his whole kingdom, and appointed overseers over all the people, commanding the cities of Judah to sacrifice city by city.
Damn. Overseers and commanding the cities of Judah to sacrifice. Go ahead.
Then many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit, everyone that forsook the law, and so they committed evils in the land, and drove the Israelites into secret places, even wheresoever they could flee for succor.
For comfort, right? Go ahead.
Now the 15th day of the month, Caslu, in the 145th year, they set up the abomination of desolation upon the altar, and builded idol altars throughout the cities of Judah on every side.
Right. So they done did this at the temple, which is our sanctuary, and they've done it all around the city. They setting all this stuff up, setting altars on top of our altar to sacrifice abominable beasts. It's the same people doing the same stuff to us today. It's spiritual today.
Yeah, they got churches on every corner now.
Right. Doing the same thing.
And burnt incense at the doors of their houses and in the streets. And when they had...
Hold on, let me say this. So in the law, you had an altar of incense, and you burn incense for a sweet smell to the Lord. Remember, REA, we was on the phone yesterday, and we went to Revelation 8 and Revelation 5, and how with those odors, so that's supposed to please the Most High, our prayers go up with that to appease him. So they trying to get us to do the same thing for their gods. Go ahead.
And when they had rent in pieces the books of the law which they found, they burnt them with fire.
So they burnt the law, yo.
And you can see it. It's about to happen again in our time. California already put it out a couple years ago, trying to abolish the Bible.
Usually Bible sales have boosted, they said.
When they tell you going to take it away, there's going to be a sect of people that stock it up.
Right.
You remember what happened a couple years ago when they were about to change some gun laws?
I remember that.
You had to go get your ammo and all your stuff.
That's when I woke up to the truth right there. I'm like, what the hell going on? What they getting prepared for?
The race wars and stuff.
Whatever it might be. They don't play by their stuff, you take it away. Verse 57. And wheresoever was found with any the book of the testament,
Anybody that had the scriptures. Go ahead.
or if any consented to the law, the king's commandment was that they should put him to death.
So for trying to keep the commandments of God, you would be put to death. And remember, we read in Daniel that all this transpired because of transgression. If you don't want to do what the Lord said to do, then he moved the hedge out the way and allow your greatest enemy to come in.
But there is no hedge, there is no protection.
Right. Go ahead.
Thus did they, by their authority, unto the Israelites every month, to as many as were found in the cities.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Now the 25th day of the month, they did sacrifice upon the idol altar, which was upon the altar of God.
Right. On the 25th day of the month is when they did this.
There's no Christmas is not pagan, Jake.
Oh, yeah, they set up a tree upon the altar. No. Verse 16.
At which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised. And they...
Remember now, remember the woman, we was on TikTok Live, and she was scoffing about God had children put to death.
Unaliving babies.
Yeah, unaliving babies. And I said that was retribution for what they did to us throughout history, man. So you being righteous, like if the Lord wasn't protecting Israel at the time when Christ came, this could have possibly happened to Mary. But no, the power of the highest was upon her. She was protected. Christ was protected. John. Yeah, they was protected.
They're supposed to be killed.
So I know Pharaoh ordered all the firstborns to be killed.
That was supposed to happen to to Christ.
Mm-hmm. King Herod, same thing.
Yeah, okay. I was making sure that it was the same thing. They ordered all the firstborns to die. Okay.
Verse 61. And they hanged the infants about their necks, and rifled their houses, and slew them that had circumcised them.
See, that lady needs to see this. I bet she don't know about this.
Howbeit, many in Israel were fully resolved and confirmed in themselves not to eat any unclean thing.
It's the same way we have to be today. Read next verse.
Wherefore they chose rather to die, that they might not be defiled with meats, and that they might not profane the holy covenant. So then they died.
Right. They did not want to profane the holy covenant by eating abominable things.
I don't know if you're going to get into it, but there's more examples of this. But for our history and for our forefathers and foremothers to go through all these things and rather choose death over it, and today we just think, oh, yeah, it's nailed to the cross. None of that even matters anymore.
Yeah, it was made clean.
So why would the Lord put his people through this or have these trials to go through if it was just going to be all wiped away in the end? What a waste of time.
Then you have to ask, like, who's the God that I serve?
Right.
If he would allow that to happen to them, and then now it's not a problem.
And that's what a lot of atheists say too. Why would you God allow all these people to get murdered and stuff? Well, they don't have no understanding of the Lord.
Why would the Most High forgive a people? Well, for one, he didn't give them laws anyway. But why would he forgive a people that have tried, that literally killed him, and then tried to kill him, as well as his people? Because let's start with the Egyptians. Moses was commissioned by Christ and the Most High to give the law to our people, but yet they tried to kill him.
And the Lord made an example out of them when they followed us out of it. These people don't get it. You have to pay for everything that you've done. Look at Gaza. Look at the West Bank. Look at Palestine. Look at Syria. Look at Lebanon. Look at all them places. All of them have partaken in our captivity and the destruction of our people. And they're going through great tribulation right now.
And then the Greeks as a whole, you have never seen. There's nowhere in the scriptures where it say the Greeks or any other nation as a whole has kept the commandments. Y'all, but y'all see 1, 2, 3, 4 examples of the centurion, the Syro-Phoenician woman, this, that, and third. Y'all see one example. Oh, you see, yep, the whole nation. Nah, they don't mean the whole nation.
No,
they
the centurions is Israelites.
That's like I say, they still Israelites, yeah.
I know that, but I'm saying they see, the centurion, he's Greek, so that means he can be Greeks and be
yeah,
No, in the Syrophoenician one, literally, the only person you see in the scripts, in the New Testament, where they're Greek by nationality is the Syrophoenician woman. That means she's a Syrian Edomite. A Syrian Edomite, a Greek. That's why it tells you by nation. The other Greeks in the New Testament is our people that speak Greek or follow the customs of the Greeks. That's simple. Verse 64. And there was very great wrath upon Israel, and the Lord allowed this to happen because of our disobedience, transgression. Tashawn, chapter 2. No, you're reading. You're reading, buddy.
I'm good.
I gotta change the scriptures up here.
This ain't nothing but an hour right now. You know, I'm.
No way.
Yeah.
4 minutes.
I'm done longer.
What verse we starting off with?
1.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 2 and verse 1. In those days arose Mattathias, the son of John, the son of Simeon, a priest of the sons of Joarib, from Jerusalem, and dwelt in Modin. And he had 5 sons, Johanan, called Caddis, Simon, called Thasai, Judas, who was called Maccabeus, Eleazar, called Avarin, and Jonathan, whose surname was Apis.
Hey, let me make a point, Roy. Let me bring this to your memory. So, they're the sons of a priest. So that means the Levites was there. And we read about that in Chronicles, how the Levites came back out of the cities because Rehoboam kicked them out after he set up Baal worship. He did not send a bunch of Northern Kingdom Israelites back. He sent them back for those liars on that we talked to earlier. Go ahead.
And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem, he said, Woe is me! Wherefore was I born to see this misery of my people and of the holy city, and to dwell there when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hand of strangers.
Man, this is when, like, the day that I was born, when it rolls around, I always think about this verse right here. What is there to celebrate, yo? We're seeing when you look around at our people, how could you want to enjoy yourself? I know everybody wants to have a good time or at least to relax or whatever. But how can you, looking at the state of your people,
And just be living in a state of pleasure. And that's what it ends up turning into when you bring it alluding to birthdays. Like now it's like, oh, it's my whole birthday month. Like it's a whole celebration of work, and it's just like you said, it's a time where you need to take a break, a breather, to relax, reset. But the self worship and the lack of, but it's well, I ain't going to tangent, but it's part of the whole design for us to be rocked to sleep like we are right now.
yeah,
Some people live their whole life for Friday, Saturday night, and then they of course,
Yeah.
you got your birthdays and all that stuff.
It's set up that way. Get paid on Friday.
all right, go ahead.
Verse 8, her temple is become as a man without glory. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets. Her young men with the sword of the enemy. What nation have not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils?
But no, we're all blessed and faithful Abraham. I will do good to thee and I forget how the prophecy go. Them that bless thee. What nation blessed Israel? The only ones that you had was even nice and cordial to us was Moses' wife people. One scripture says she was a Cushite, another say a Midianite, but they were Kenites is what they were. It says later on. They were Kenites. And they were nice to us, and I forget who it was, and judges asked them to be a lookout for us, but they ended up refusing and going their own way. But they was peaceable. They're the only ones you ever read about that was peaceful with us like that. Everybody else want to fight. They woke up and chose violence.
They didn't want us in their land.
Go ahead.
All her ornaments are taken away. Of a free woman she has become a bondslave. And behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory is laid waste, and the Gentiles have profaned it.
Hold on. Verse 11. All her ornaments are taken away. Of a free woman she has become a bondslave. Referring to Jerusalem as a woman right there. What is it? Sirach 10? Or 2 Ezra 10? It's somewhere else Jerusalem is referred to as a woman. And then you have the children of Israel we're referred to as a woman also because we're the bride. We're the bride of the Father. We're in a covenant with the Father. So we're that woman of youth. But the nations can't see that either. They think they think that the woman is Mary, or the woman is the church that includes all people. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 13. To what end, therefore, shall we live any longer? Then Mattathias and his sons rent their clothes and put on sackcloth and mourned very sore. In the meanwhile, the king's officers, such as compelled the people to revolt, came into the city of Modin to make them sacrifice.
So these are the ones that's going along with it. They're revolting. Who are they revolting against? Revolting against the Most High. Whose city is it? Whose land is it first and foremost? It belonged to the Lord. But he chose us to be his people, and we get to live there. Somehow we can, and you think we can be willfully disobedient? Go ahead.
And when many of Israel came unto them, Mattathias also and his sons came together. Then answered the king's officers and said, Mattathias on this wise, thou art a ruler, and an honorable and great man in this city, and strengthened with sons and brethren. Now therefore, come thou first and fulfill the king's commandment.
Put the picture up his the class picture. Keep going.
Like as all the heathen have done, yea, and the men of Judah also, and such as remain at Jerusalem, so shalt thou and thy house be in the number of the king's friends. And thou and thy children shall be honored with silver and gold and many rewards.
So that's
Then-
bribery.
Mm-hmm.
Bribery.
It's a class, Ecclesiastes,
Mhm.
a wise man.
Taking a gift. Go ahead.
Then Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice, though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him, and fall away every one from the religion of their fathers, and give consent to his commandments. Yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers. God forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinances.
Damn.
We will not hearken to the king's words to go from our religion, either on the right hand or the left.
Man, that reminds me of Romans 6. What is it? 6, 1 and 2, where Paul said, because we are not under the law, but under grace, should we sin? God forbid. Hell no. This is the theme. This is the theme for Israel. To be obedient. Go ahead.
Now, when he had left, verse 20. No, my bad.
Yeah, you're
Verse
right,
23.
23.
Now, when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar which was at Modin,
Sound like Pastor Holloway or T.D. Jakes.
according to the king's commandment. Which thing, when Mattathias saw, he was inflamed with zeal, and his reins trembled. Neither could he forbear to show his anger according to judgment. Wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar.
Right. So this coon that went up to sacrifice and rebel against the God of Israel, Mattathias, and is what he did wrong?
Ecclesiastes 3. There's a time to kill and a time to make alive.
What is it? I'm thinking Exodus, but also when Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 13. Just give me 8,
6.
9. No, we don't need to read all of that, but just
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 13 and verse 8. Thou shalt not consent unto him, nor hearken unto him, neither shall thine eye pity him, neither shalt thou spare, neither shalt thou conceal him. But thou shalt surely kill him. Thine hand shall be first upon him to put him to death, and afterwards the hand of all the people.
damn. Mattathias, and remember,
if you read up, that's for going into idolatry.
Yeah, because they were remember they're of Aaron's seed, of the priests. They're from the priests. They know the commandment. That's why he keep talking about the commandment. Where we at in Maccabees 2?
25.
Verse 25.
Also the king's commissioner, who compelled men to sacrifice, he killed at that time, and the altar he pulled down.
So the messenger, what they say, don't kill the messenger? Like, nah, you the one, you telling our people to sacrifice? Nope, you gone too.
300.
Oh, and they kicked him in there? Yeah.
He was like, you gonna kill the messenger?
Dang. All right.
Verse 26. Thus dealt he zealously for the law of God, like as Phanes did, and Zambri, the son of Salom. And Mattathias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, Whosoever is zealous of the law, and maintaineth the covenant, let him follow me.
Damn. Yo. Read verse 28, then we're going to come back to 27.
So he and his sons fled into the mountains and left all that ever they had in the city.
Right. Now read 27 again.
And Mattathias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, Whosoever is zealous of the law, and maintaineth the covenant, let him follow me.
Oh, now watch this. Acts 21 and verse 20. Because our buddies, they're not going to pay attention to this either. They probably wouldn't even respond.
The book of Acts, chapter 21 and verse 20. And when they heard it, they glorified the Lord and said unto him, Thou seest, brother, how many thousands of Jews there are which believe, and they are all zealous of the law.
Same thing, zealous of the covenant. What's the covenant? With the commandments. When you read this stuff, you got to ask you, what is it that other people see? They are in dark, gross darkness. I've never even seen anybody respond to that right there, that they're zealous of the law. I've never seen them even respond to it. Where are we at?
29.
No, not 29. We're going to jump to 39. We'll cut out some for time.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 2 and verse 39. Now when Mattathias and his friend understood hereof, they mourned for them right sore.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because somehow people would not fight. They got attacked on the Sabbath day, and they would not fight. Go ahead.
And one of them said to another, If we all do as our brethren have done, and fight not for our lives, and laws against the heathen, they will now quickly root us out of the earth. At that time, therefore, they decreed, saying, Whosoever shall come to make battle with us on the Sabbath day, we will fight against him. Neither will we all die all, as our brethren that were murdered in the secret places. Then came there unto him a company of Assyrians, who were mighty men of Israel, even all such as were voluntarily devoted unto the law.
Right, they said these are Pharisees. This is how the Pharisees began.
Also, all they that fled for persecution joined themselves unto them, and were a stay unto them. So they joined their forces, and smote sinful men in their anger, and wicked men in their wrath. But the rest fled to the heathen for succor.
Right, so even the wicked of our people were slain. Now that's Ezekiel 9. We said go through the city and don't have no mercy. Hold on. Those eyes used to pull out all the time. Ezekiel 9 and verse 4.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 9 and verse 4. And the Lord said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof.
Damn.
Man.
Jump to yeah, keep going. 5 and 6.
And to the others he said in mine hearing, Go ye after him through the city, and smite. Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. Ezekiel 9 and now verse 6. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house.
Damn. The Lord don't play. When he say slay utterly, that's what he means. First Maccabees 2 and what verse?
We are now at
45.
Yep, 45. Then Mattathias and his friends went round about and pulled down the altars.
That's
First
right.
Maccabees 2 and 45. And what children soever they found within the coast of Israel uncircumcised, those they circumcised valiantly.
Damn. They were, and remember, they were priests. They was of the priesthood.
They pursued also after the proud men, and the work prospered in their hand. So they recovered the law out of the hand of the Gentiles, and out of the hand of kings. Neither suffer they the sinner to triumph.
Now that show you that the law does not belong to them, man. So you can't when somebody asks you about Nebuchadnezzar in Daniel chapter 4, give them that verse. Where's that book of the law with the Lord? There ain't one. There isn't one. Go ahead. I like when we be doing classes. I like throwing shots like that at them folk.
Now when the time drew near that Mattathias should die, he said unto his sons, Now hath pride and rebuke gotten strength, and the time of destruction, and the wrath of indignation. Mm-hmm. Now therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the law, and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers. Call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time. So shall ye receive great honor and an everlasting name.
Let's rock 30 real quick.
That's 1 Kings 2.
Yep.
It's the same thing. Along the same lines David told Solomon. You said 30.
Yep. You start with
3. Oh, okay. The book of Ecclesiasticus or Sirach, chapter 30 and verse 1. He that loveth his son causeth him oft to feel the rod, that he may have joy of him in the end. Mm-hmm. He that chastiseth his son shall have joy in him, and shall rejoice of him among his acquaintance.
Go ahead.
He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy, and before his friends he shall rejoice of him. We read that in Deuteronomy as well, about how we're supposed to teach our children.
Yep.
Though his father die, yet he is as though he were not dead, for he have left one behind him that is like himself.
And that's what he did. That's what Mattathias did, man. Now he giving them a speech to be strong, just like David and Solomon. Giving them a speech to be strong and keep the charge of the Lord, yo. Go out and fight for your people. Damn the heathen.
While he lived, I'm sorry.
No, you can drop this.
I was going to read at least verse 6.
Oh, okay. But let me say this first. This is the proper hermeneutics of the Bible.
No, brother, this is you interjecting your ideas into the text, brother. Verse 5, while he lived, he saw and rejoiced in him. And when he died, he was not sorrowful. He left behind him an avenger against his enemies.
Damn.
And one that shall requite kindness to his friends.
That's good.
Yeah.
Damn.
Since we getting into the battle.
An avenger against his enemies. Exactly what he did.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 2, verse 52. Was not Abraham found faithful in temptation? And
we can skip that. Oh, if y'all want to, we went through this part right here in a class called, I think it was Grace. No, it was faith.
I was gonna say faith.
It was faith.
Yeah. Because
this right here that's in Maccabees, these next few verses.
Same thing.
Paul,
in the New Testament.
Same thing in Hebrews. Paul goes over it in Hebrews.
But it's obedience to the Lord. But we not
right.
going to do it. That was like
all of them had obedience. Pick up at 61.
Verse 61. And thus consider ye throughout all ages, that none that put their trust in him shall be overcome. Fear not then the words of a sinful man, for his glory shall be dung and worms.
Let me say this real quick. None that put their trust in him shall be overcome. Even though most of the Maccabees died and the father died, this is still true. Because death, if you're in remembrance of the Lord, you physically dying don't mean nothing. And they understand. In the book of Maccabees, they understand we coming back. They understand that. Give your life for your people and your nation and your laws. The Lord gonna bring you back.
The 7 sons.
Yes.
Mighty. Verse 64. No, verse 63. I just read 62.
Yeah, he read 62.
63. Today he shall be lifted up, and tomorrow he shall not be found, because he is returned into his dust, and his start is come to nothing. Wherefore, ye my sons, be valiant, and show yourselves men in the behalf of the law, for by it shall ye obtain glory. And behold, I know that your brother Simon is a man of counsel. Give ear unto him always. He shall be a father unto you. As for Judas Maccabeus, he had been mighty and strong, even from his youth up. Let him be your captain, and fight the battle of the people. Take also unto you all those that observe the law.
Damn.
And avenge ye the wrong of your people.
Why do we keep saying over and over the law and being zealous of the law? My sons, give your life for the law. They refuse to break the holy covenant. But it's the heathen now. It's the heathen that want to separate you from your sanctuary, from your means of making peace with your God. See, back then, they had the sanctuary and they had sacrifice. That was set up then. This is before Christ. But now we have Christ. But Christ is only going to vouch for us, speak on our behalf, if we're obedient. Disobedience is what causes all of these things to happen to us. Don't listen to the heathen.
I mean, it's so simple the way the Lord set everything up for you to understand it. If your children constantly disobey you, what's their reward? They don't get a reward for saying, my mama gave me chores to do, but I decided, hey, I'm free in Christ. I ain't got to keep these. What is the reward? And if they are obedient, what's the reward? Like, there's a plus side to it. They're going to get their allowance or whatever that next thing is, or continue to grow. It's so simple. We're his children under the same kind of context.
He's not talking to the other kids outside the house.
No.
He's talking to his kids. Other kids.
And I was going to say that earlier in the class too, because when they mix these words up, these letters to Paul and things like that, if I'm in my house right now and say, man, we're all going, and somebody takes the transcript and reads it down the street, that's not for them. It's not for them.
If you do your chores, I'm gonna give you money.
Then somebody else gonna read that down the street and be like, where's my money? It ain't for you.
See, like Paul said, we all gonna have to stand before the judgment seat of Christ, right? So we're going to be judged, irregardless. And we're going to receive a reward based on whether it's good or if it's bad. You don't want to go stand before the Lord and you don't have if you have to explain why you won't keeping the commandments, you're in trouble. You don't need to be explaining why you didn't keep the commandments. You need to be showing how you did everything you could to stand and keep them. Period. You got this. Let's hit that real quick. 2 Corinthians 5. Listening to the heathen. That's your downfall. Verse 10 and 11. Damn.
The book of 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 10. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, that every one may receive the things done in his body according to that he have done, whether it be good or bad.
Right, whether it be good or whether it be bad. Go ahead.
Knowing therefore the terror of the Lord, we persuade men, but we are made manifest unto God, and I trust also are made manifest in your consciences.
So knowing the terror of the Lord, we persuade men. We're trying to persuade our people to be obedient so you don't get judged for evil. That your judgment be for doing good. It's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God, man. Why don't Christians bring that up?
How do you differentiate between good and bad?
They're fooling you into believing a lie and causing you to rebel against the Lord. This is Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 31. It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. Even when it comes to judgment, you have to be with brothers and you have to hold yourselves accountable. It's much better for you to be judged by your peers than for nobody to do anything and the Lord have to step in. Now you're in the hands of the living God, who's a consuming fire. Matter of fact, that's Hebrews 12. Hebrews 12 and 29. For our God is a consuming fire, not something to be trifled with. All right, back to 2 Maccabees.
Verse 68.
Yeah,
chapter
read
2.
67 again.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 2 and verse 67. Take also unto you all those that observe the law, and avenge ye the wrong of your people. Recompense fully the heathen, and take heed to the commandments of the law.
Recompense means pay the heathen back fully and take heed to the law. That's not canon. That's not God breathed. Oh, wow. Go ahead.
So he blessed them and was gathered to his fathers. And he died in the 146th year, and his sons buried him in the sepulchres of his fathers at Modin. And all Israel made great lamentation for him.
Right. All Israel made great lamentation for him. You good or you want me to read a little bit?
I'm good.
All right. Chapter 3, go 1 to 10.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 3 and verse 1. Then his son Judas, called Maccabeus, rose up in his stead, and all his brethren helped him, and so did all they that held with his father. And they fought with cheerfulness the battle of Israel. So he gat his people great honor, and put on a breastplate as a giant, and girt his warlike harness about him. And he made battles, protecting the host with his sword. And his axe, he was like a lion, and like a lion's whelp roaring for his prey.
Damn, I can't imagine that.
For he pursued the wicked, and sought them out, and burnt up those that vexed his people. Wherefore the wicked shrunk for fear of him, and all the workers of iniquity were troubled, because salvation prospered in his hand.
Right, salvation prospered in his hand. Now, I wonder, man, if it's possible, if we can see footage of this, or if we can go back in time and watch it.
I be thinking the same thing. Lord's will in the kingdom be like, yo.
Let me see what you did. Because reading about it and seeing it's going to be totally different.
Man, my Netflix account in the kingdom is going to be all.
I want to see the Lord walk the Red Sea and how the chariots floating above the joint.
Man, the cloud following them throughout the wilderness. Coming
Bro
down over the temple.
Netflix in the kingdom.
It's going to be David,
It's gonna
Moses.
be-
Like the search bar going to be.
It's going to be called something else,
Yeah,
though.
they going to be called that.
Like on the Book of Clarence. I mean,
God to something.
all right.
Verse 7.
7, yeah.
He grieved also many kings, and made Jacob glad with his acts. And his memorial is blessed forever.
Jacob, meaning our forefather. He wasn't ashamed of Mattathias. I mean, this is Maccabees.
yeah,
I mean,
Maccabees.
yeah, Judas right here.
Moreover, he went through the cities of Judah, destroying the ungodly out of them, and turning away wrath from Israel.
See how he turned away wrath from Israel? Destroying the ungodly. People don't, so, people don't get this. I saw this like 7-8 years ago in my reading. I'm like, wait a minute. So the priest has to make an atonement for the people. He has to do this every time. So the priest bears the iniquity of the people. When you translate that to who's the high priest now, right?
Christ.
Can Christ allow sin before the Most High? Hell no. And he gave his life once. It ain't happening again. You got to go, buddy. You know what I'm saying? If you're disobedient, you think you can be disobedient? This is why it's going to take 1,000 years before the Father even comes to the earth.
And we've been arguing about it a lot because of this holiday season. But this is why we've been so adamant about mixing the worldly stuff with the Lord.
Right.
You can't take part of the worldly stuff and mix it in with the Father and think that's going to be presentable to him. So that's why we adamant about, yes, Christmas is pagan. The idolatry spirit that y'all in during that season. Worshiping after all these things of the world, you think the Lord's going to be pleased with that. And all we're trying to say is just separate from it.
5 minutes, John. 2 opinions. It's in 1 Kings somewhere. Look it up real quick. We got to go there.
2 opinions?
Because, I mean, this is perfect for the holiday season, like what you just said, Roy. Here are people giving their life to follow out.
1 Kings 18 and 21.
So we're probably going to have to start at 18. You said 21?
Yeah, 1 Kings 18 and 21.
Yeah, 18 probably. Or 17.
18. Oh, yeah, I see it.
17, 18.
Start at 20. So this is a prophet from Judah going up to the northern kingdom of Israel with damn Baal worshipers. Right? So Christianity today is nothing but Baal worship. Cabs, trees, lights, all that. It don't matter. It's still the same. It's the same God.
And that's what they don't understand. I mean, I'm just, you know, we've been having a lot of discussions the last couple of weeks with a lot of these Christians, and they just don't see that. They just want to, we don't call it Baal, so it's not the same. It's the exact same spirit y'all moving in. The book of 1 Kings, chapter 18 and verse 20. So Ahab, Salakia. So Ahab sent unto all the children of Israel and gathered the prophets together unto Mount Carmel. And Elijah came unto all the people and said, How long halt ye between 2 opinions? If the Lord be God, follow him. But if Baal, then follow him. And the people answered him not a word.
Right. If the Lord be God, or if he be Baal, which one you gonna serve? You can't mix that stuff together.
Man.
This is the dude from the other day. He said that every Christian knows that the Lord wasn't born on December 25th. However, we do it because it's church tradition. So I said, so you know that Christ wasn't born on December 25th. Yes, we know that. So
Yeah.
so you're knowingly celebrating a day that
It has
you know,
nothing to do with the Lord.
that for one, that has nothing to do with the Lord. But if that's not his birthday, you know it, but you're celebrating the day that perpetuates that narrative.
You're willfully doing it.
You're willfully
Yeah.
doing it.
And
you never respond.
And what they don't like is we're making their life miserable.
No, y'all, like I had said, no, it's y'all making the Israelite lives miserable with all these daggone pagan stuff y'all doing and abominable foods and Sunday worship. Y'all making our lives miserable.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, you're right. Christians, they don't sacrifice wooden idols. They just put up a tree. They just cut a tree down out the forest. Maybe a plastic one, decorated with silver and gold, and fastened.
Now, who had the cut? Was it Ezra?
That was
It's-
me. I said it.
Not talking about the cut with the fake tree. He used it was another cut for even. Oh, I used a fake tree. I think it was Ezra. I think I was watching Ezra class, and he pulled a precept.
Well, I pulled it on.
Oh, maybe it was you. I can't remember. We talked about it though. but
Isaiah 40.
Maybe that's what it
In
was.
19,
Okay. So it doesn't even matter if you got a real
Oh,
tree.
that's right. We were talking. Oh, that was in our meeting.
Yeah,
And
I know
I
it got
pulled
brought
it
up somewhere
in.
in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Even if you got a fake tree,
But you
Damn.
don't celebrate Christmas. You're right. You might. Yeah, you're right.
you're not in idolatry.
You just put up a tree.
Deck it with silver and gold, fasten it with nails so it doesn't move. You gotta water it because its needs need to be met. You know,
Put gifts under it and bow down to it.
we're not bound down. Okay, you just bending over in front of the tree for the gifts.
Thing I like is when
Get down on
the
your knees and bending over and put the present.
thing I like is
The star on top.
cats have a propensity to snatch them joints down.
The cats be on another level. Then you got a star on top.
Right.
And it ain't got nothing to do with Soul Invictus.
Got everything to do with the sun, though. Sun worship. Anyway, all right,
Yeah, we back to our feast.
right. Where we at? Verse
Yeah,
9.
okay. The book of First Maccabees, chapter 3 and verse 9. So that he was renowned unto the utmost part of the earth, and he received unto him such as were ready to perish.
Ready to give their lives. Damn.
Then Apollonius gathered the Gentiles together and a great host of the Samaria to fight against Israel.
Right. So there was gonna fight fight against us. Verse jump to 18.
Verse 18. Unto whom Judas answered, It is no hard matter for many to be shut up in the hands of a few, and with the God of heaven it is all one, to deliver with the great multitude or a small company.
See, so what I'm doing, I'm bypassing certain stuff because I'm focusing on the spirit that we're supposed to be in for our God and for our people, to fight for one another. But we're so divided, man. So divided. People are pushing Pan-Africanism, Kemet, Islam. Oh, we have to come together as Israelites underneath God's commandments. It's the
That's
only
right.
way.
So what Gentiles was he talking about in verse 10?
The daggone nations that was in there, in our land. One's claiming they can find their DNA there. Verse 19.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 3 and verse 19. For the victory of a battle standeth not in the multitude of an host, but strength cometh from heaven.
Right. The Lord fights our battles for us. Imagine you out there with swords swinging and boulders is coming out the sky hitting folks, bro. What was that, Lord of the Rings?
I ain't seen that one.
Them big stones.
I'm watching that now. Don't spoil it.
You've never seen it?
No,
I never
Oh,
seen
wow.
it either.
I've only seen the Hobbit series.
No, that second and third one. What the hell? That was a long time right there.
It's been doing it all this whole time.
Yeah, I've been seeing it, but not that long. All right.
Verse 20.
Yeah.
They come against us in much pride and iniquity to destroy us, and our wives and children, and to spoil us. But we fight for our lives and our laws. Wherefore the Lord himself will overthrow them before our face. And as for you, be ye not afraid of them. Now, as soon as he had left off speaking, he leaped suddenly upon them.
Damn.
And so Syrian and his host was overthrown before him.
Just leaped suddenly up. So just like his dad, and his dad had just got.
Zeal.
Yeah, he got zeal, bro. Damn. Go ahead. We'll
And-
read down to verse 27.
And they pursued them from the going of Beth-the-Horon unto the plain, where were slain about 800 men of them, and the residue fled into the land of the Philistines. Then began the fear of Judas and his brethren, for an exceeding great dread, to fall upon the nations round about them.
The nations were fearing. They heard about him, and they were in fear because of him.
Insomuch as his fame came unto the king, and all nations talked of the battles of Judas. Now when King Antiochus heard these things, he was full of indignation. Wherefore he sent and gathered together all the forces of his realm, even a very strong army.
All right, we're going to skip from right here. But think about that. Like the mighty works that our brothers did, we read them in here how they was famous, but when you go out in the world, where do you read about it? They be trying to hide this stuff from us.
And look at it like this: we say that all these nations are, can be grafted into the covenant, right? And the Jews, right? The Jews, they're supposed to be the head of it, and now they were grafting everybody in. But however, the Jews still haven't forgiven
Philistines?
the Philistines. The Jews didn't
Forgiven?
forgive the-
They ain't got nothing to be forgiven for. That's the thing about it. That's how they manipulate the narrative.
Yeah, like
Yeah, it's all corrupt. But
How could they be grafted in? They don't believe in Christ.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
that's the other part. And that's what they had brought up in that group. They never attacked them, and they don't even believe in Christ.
Let's go to Daniel real quick. Daniel 11 and 30.
The book of Daniel, chapter 11 and verse 30.
This is one of the prophecies.
For the ships of Chittim shall come against him. Therefore he shall be grieved and return, and have indignation against the holy covenant. So shall he do. He shall even return and have intelligence with them that forsake the holy covenant.
With intelligence with them that forsake the holy covenant, turn their back. Judas Iscariots of Israel, not Judas Maccabeus. Go ahead.
And arms shall stand on his part, and they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength, and shall take away the daily sacrifice, and they shall place the abomination that maketh desolate.
Right, go ahead.
And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flatteries. But the people that do know their God shall be strong and do exploits.
The people that do know their God, that's the Maccabees and the brothers that band with them to fight against them. And the other ones are those coons that hate their own people and sided with our enemy, our main enemy at that, the Greeks and the Romans. Go ahead.
And they that understand among the people shall instruct many, yet they shall fall by the sword, and by flame, by captivity, and by spoil many days.
Right. So most of them die, except I think John Hyrcanus was the last one left. I think. Go ahead.
Now when they shall fall, they shall be hoping with a little help, but many shall cleave to them with flatteries.
Right. Many shall cleave to them with flatteries. Go ahead.
And some of them understanding shall fall to try them, and to purge, and to make them white, even to the time of the end, because it is yet for a time appointed.
Right. It's for a time appointed. You can drop this. Back to First Maccabees 3, and we're going to pick up at 41, I think. 40, verse 40.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 3, and verse 40. So they went forth with all their power, and came and pitched by Emmaus in the plain country.
So these are the Gentiles that banded against us. Watch what they do.
And the merchants of the country, hearing the fame of them, took silver and gold very much with servants, and came into the camp to buy the children of Israel for slaves.
So those that they had captured, they were selling us for slaves.
A power also of Syria and of the land of the Philistines joined themselves unto them.
Syria and Palestine. So I need the Christians to explain why those folks are going through what they're going through today. And why is it that it's white people that's doing this to them? The very people that they sold us back and forth. Like in Joel said, you have sold the coast of Palestine, and Tyre, you have sold the children of Israel to the Grecians. So they sold us back and forth. And you wonder why all this stuff happened to them people over there. Why is it that the Greeks and Romans, white folks today, how come they don't get destroyed like them? Because they're the vessel of wrath. It's their job to do that. Then they get destroyed. They're the vessels of wrath that the Lord has put up with until their job is done. Finish it up. Yeah, you didn't finish it.
No,
Yeah, you did.
Yep.
You did. Keep going.
Now when Judas and his brethren saw the miseries were multiplied, and that the forces did encamp themselves in their borders, for they knew how the king had given commandment to destroy the people and utterly abolish them. They said one to another, let us restore the decayed estate of our people.
Damn.
And let us fight for our people and the sanctuary.
This is how we should be looking today, man. Looking at the state of our people. And you got some people that they might have money. Like I saw a video the other day. This guy was talking about, he looked like a brother, and he was saying how he put his faith in Christ, and that's how he got to be wealthy or whatever. But he got a clean face. I mean, that show you that he ain't following the Lord. That's following in words, but not in deeds. You know, you can sound nice and seem like you're treating people nice, but no, to be obedient, you got to be keeping the commandments of God. A lot of people are deceived like that. I think, I hope some people like that make it. Because, in their mind, they think they're serving the Lord. But they're being misled by the damn devil. Go ahead.
Then was the congregation gathered together, that they might be ready for battle, and that they might pray and ask mercy and compassion. Now Jerusalem lay void as a wilderness. There was none of her children that went in or out. The sanctuary also was trodden down, and aliens kept the stronghold. The heathen had their habitation in that place, and joy was taken from Jacob, and the pipe with the harp ceased.
Damn, man.
Wherefore the Israelites assembled themselves together and came to Maspha, over against Jerusalem, for in Maspha was the place where they prayed aforetime in Israel. Then they fasted that day, and put on sackcloth, and cast ashes upon their heads, and rent their clothes, and laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images.
Those same Greeks. Them same Greeks. So this was Antiochus. So Antiochus was the ruler over Syria. Syrian Greeks, Syro-Phoenician. But he was battling with the Egyptian Greeks, Ptolemy, Cleopatra, them. And they were the ones that had got some of the Levites to translate the law into Greek. That's where the Septuagint comes from. That's when they put their images in the book of the law. Man, these dudes, if you don't know the history that go behind this stuff, you can get trapped up. We read all this stuff, like the book of Maccabees, go into this stuff. You see a lot of this stuff in here. And then in secular history, they know a lot of it too.
But people are so worried about the 400-year silence.
Yeah, right. But prophecy coming true that Daniel said. 51. Yeah.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 3 and verse 51. For thy sanctuary is trodden down and profane, and thy priests are in heaviness and brought low. And lo, the heathen are assembled together against us to destroy us. What things they imagine against us, thou knowest? How shall we be able to stand against them, except thou, O God, be our help?
Damn. How can we? What do we have? Because according to the curses, we don't have no might. The only thing we have is the Lord, man. Damn.
Then sounded they with trumpets and cried with a loud voice. And after this, Judas ordained captains over the people, even captains over thousands and over hundreds and over 50s and over 10s. But as for such as were building houses, or had betrothed wives, or were planting vineyards, or were fearful, those he commanded that they should return, every man to his own house according to the law.
Right, according to the law. That's in the law. Keep going.
So the camp removed and pitched upon the south side of Emmaus. And Judas said, Arm yourselves and be valiant men, and see that ye be in readiness against the morning, that ye may fight with these nations that are assembled together against us to destroy us and our sanctuary. For it is better for us to die in battle than to behold the calamities of our people and our sanctuary.
Damn.
Nevertheless, as the will of God is in heaven, so let him do.
Right. It's better to die in battle than to just look at the calamity of our people. And nevertheless, the will of God be done. Like Christ said. Did he say nevertheless? He said,
Thy will
Father,
be
take
done.
this cup. Take
Remove it
this
from
cup
me?
from me. Yeah, remove this cup from me.
I don't know if he said nevertheless, or maybe it depends.
But he did say, but
thy will be done.
yep, that will be done. Damn. But this isn't canon. You don't need this for sour. Shut up, Esau. That's where all that stuff come from.
You gotta control the narrative.
But I'm wrong, because white people aren't Edomites. I'm reminded every day by James McNeese.
Oh my gosh. He said,
Have you run across him yet, Tyshawn?
that man said, my ancestors
I
were.
encounter them all the time.
He said my ancestors were here 1,500 years. No, he said centuries before Esau. I just laughed, kept moving. And he said my people were here centuries before Esau. Who was your people?
You know, the first, matter of fact, bro, he was the one who said all that. it's another James, but I have encountered James McNeese before.
Yeah, we almost done. So you good, or you want Tyshawn to read?
I'm good.
Okay. First Maccabees chapter 4 and verse 7.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 4 and verse 7. And they saw the camp of the heathen, that it was strong and well harnessed, and compassed round about with horsemen, and these were expert of war. Then said Judas to the men that were with him, Fear ye not their multitude, neither be ye afraid of their assault. Remember how our fathers were delivered in the Red Sea, when Pharaoh pursued them with an army.
Our people. Those people.
Now therefore...
But he's hyping them up all through this. So his daddy did the same thing, hyping them up, man, so you can be strong.
And we see throughout all the scriptures how our forefathers referenced their forefathers.
Yeah.
But now today, y'all don't need the Old Testament no more.
One of my new favorite scriptures that I just read was Luke. Where it said he expounded, he brought their understanding by beginning at Moses, and then later on in the chapter it says he gave them understanding by the law of Moses and the prophets and so on and so forth.
Do me a favor, give me you stay right there where you at. We'll stay right here. Give me Malachi 4 and verse 4.
Freaking idiots, bro.
Yeah, use the microphone.
I got you. Malachi what?
Malachi 4 and 4, man. They say Christ came on the scene and everything changed.
For us, for the better.
Right, you're right. Chance to work our way out.
All praises.
All praise for that one.
That's what we should be celebrating. Not worry about no damn birthday.
Or Christmas, or Thanksgiving, or New Year's.
Your mic is off?
Yeah.
Shalom.
Not close.
Oh, yeah. Shalom. This is the book of Malachi, chapter 4 and verse 4. Remember ye the law of Moses, my servant, which I commanded unto him in Horeb for all Israel with the statutes and judgments. Verse 5. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse.
Right. So we keep seeing the Maccabees talking about remember your fathers, and then he teaching his sons. And you know, Judah's going to teach his kids to do what? To remember your fathers and remember the covenant with your God. To hell with Christmas.
And Malachi is the last book in the Old Testament that said, keep the law of Moses.
Yep.
And y'all Christian books, you turn to Matthew and think that's all done away with.
Right. Craziness. There wouldn't be no gospels or letters if it wasn't for the Old Testament, for the law and the covenant that was made with our fathers.
Remember, Timothy, what you have learned from thy youth.
Right. What? And in Matthew 1, from 1 to 17, is all of Christ's fathers.
Brother, don't go too mixed up. Don't get mixed up in genealogies, brother.
That's funny. See, we ain't supposed to take heed to endless genealogies. Okay, well, we got Christ. Why is that there?
Found what you looking for?
Nah, I can't believe I can't find it right now.
What is it? What is it say?
What I talked about? I know it's
Luke 24:44.
Oh, yeah. That's at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he opened their understanding. That's all you had to say, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. I don't know why I can't.
That's verse 45.
I've been pulling Luke 2 and 44 for the past couple of days to get them to understand things, but I got.
Yeah, because they try to say that the law is fulfilled. But no, Luke 24:44 we'll cut that, and then
We're gonna start at
verse
20
45.
Start at 25 and go down to 27. Luke 24 and 25.
The book of St. Luke, chapter 24 and verse 25. Then he said unto them, O fools and slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken.
He
Ought,
called them slow. That man called them folks slow.
ought not Christ to have suffered these things and to enter into his glory? And be
Hold on a second. Where you starting at?
24 and 25.
Because,
And
hold
then,
on.
and then once you reach 27, skip to 44.
Luke, hold on. 44.
Yeah, I was about to read 27.
So did they know? Oh yeah, they knew because he was walking with him. They didn't know who he was until he revealed himself.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
starting in the beginning where it told him he began at Moses and then jumped to 44.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So that's why I wanted to come here because they don't know that this is Christ walking with them yet. He's just some dude walking the same way they was going. Yeah, read that.
Verse 27, and beginning at Moses and all the prophets, he expounded unto them all the scriptures, the things concerning himself. Keep going, or you want to jump down to 40?
Jump down to 44.
Verse 44, and he said unto them, These are the words which I spake unto you while I was yet with you, that all the things must be fulfilled which were written in the law of Moses, and in the prophets, and in the Psalms concerning me.
And then 45.
Then opened he their understanding, that they might understand the scriptures.
What scriptures?
The law of Moses, the prophets.
The law and the
Psalms.
prophets.
Come
So
on,
this
man.
stuff, like it's crazy how people can't see this. Keep going.
And he said unto them, Thus it is written, and thus it behooved Christ to suffer, and to rise from the dead the third day.
To the suffer, that's Isaiah 53. Keep going.
And the repentance and remission of sins should be preached in his name among all nations, beginning at Jerusalem.
So repentance and remission of sin, which is for Israel, should be preached starting at Jerusalem. That would be the circumcision. Then Samaria. So you begin at Jerusalem, then you go to Acts 1, it'll say, let's hear this.
And then it don't say preach them to all nations. It says preach among all nations.
Right.
Because
We are we are scattered into all nations.
Who is who? Oh, my goodness.
1 and verse 8.
The book of Acts, chapter 1 and verse 8. But ye shall receive power after that the Holy Ghost is come upon you. And ye shall be witnesses unto me both in Jerusalem and in all Judea
All of the southern kingdom
and in Samaria
and in Samaria, which is the capital of the northern kingdom. The Samaritans are Ephraimites. And the Samaritans, you never hear the other nations being called Samaritans. They dwelt in Samaria, but in the Bible, they're never referred to as Samaritans.
and unto the uttermost part of the earth.
Right. You start there and then you go to Israel everywhere that they're scattered. Like we always start with Ezekiel 3 and 11. Them of the captivity. I have yet to see a Jewish person that was in captivity. Back to First Maccabees. This stuff, but our eyes are opened. We're open. Our eyes are open. We're getting that cloud of darkness from over us. Man, that joint is so hard in Revelation. Said when they came out the pit, that the earth was covered with smoke and darkness. That's what these people have done. Damn.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 4 and verse 10. Now therefore, let us cry unto heaven, if peradventure the Lord will have mercy upon us, and remember the covenant of our fathers,
Damn.
and destroy this host before our face this day. That so all the heathen may know that there is one who delivereth and saveth Israel.
Ooh. Whoa. No, he saved everybody.
Who those heathen? It ain't Israel.
Right. Not in this instance. Damn. Yeah, go ahead.
Then the strangers lifted up their eyes and saw them coming over against them.
Uh-oh.
Wherefore they went out of the camp to battle. But they that were with Judah sounded their trumpets. So they joined battle, and the heathen, being discomfited, fled into the plain.
Right, the heathen being discomfited. All right, skip from there. Let's jump to verse 21.
Verse 21. When therefore they perceived these things, they were sore afraid, and seeing also the host of Judas in the plain ready to fight, they fled every one into the land of strangers.
Mm-hmm.
Then Judas returned to spoil the tents, where they got much gold and silver and blue silk and purple of the sea and great riches. After this, they went home and sung a song of thanksgiving and praised the Lord in heaven, because it is good, because his mercy endureth forever.
Hold on, so let me see your pen, bro. I hate to do this during class, man. No. That's a good one right there. Purple of the sea. The other day we were going over Act 16, and that lady that was down by the riverside, and they remember they was down there sending up prayers, and then the Lord opened one of their hearts. She made purple garments. Purple of the sea. All right, where we at?
25.
Yeah, verse 25.
Yeah, 25. After 25, we're going to skip again.
Thus Israel had a great deliverance that day.
Damn. But see, by them trusting in the Lord and taking the battle to these heathen, including the Idumeans, had a great deliverance. And then again, and all this is prophesied. Verse, I wonder if I got 36. Yep, 36. This is it.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 4 and verse 36. This is the last section of class.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, from here to the end. We almost there.
Then said that's a relative, Jake's we almost done versus somebody else's. Verse 36. Then said Judas and his brethren, behold, our enemies are discomfited. Let us go up to cleanse and dedicate the sanctuary.
Right, now it's time to cleanse and dedicate the sanctuary. Go ahead.
Upon this all the hosts assembled themselves together and went up into Mount Zion. And when they saw the sanctuary desolate and the altar profaned, and the gates burned up and shrubs growing in the courts as in a forest or in one of the mountains, and the priest's chambers pulled down, they rent their clothes and made great lamentation and cast ashes upon their heads and fell down flat to the ground upon their faces and blew an alarm with trumpets and cried toward heaven. Then Judas appointed certain men to fight against those that were in the fortress until he had cleansed the sanctuary. So he chose priests of blameless conversation.
Priests. Damn, man. Some of these verses, I can't see how anybody would be against the command. If you're against the commandments, man, you ain't Israel, yo.
What O used to say, you hate Christ end of the day. You hate the Lord.
Yeah, you do. You loathe that light bread.
Verse 42. So he chose priests of blameless conversation, such as had pleasure in the law, who cleansed the sanctuary and bear out the defiled stones into an unclean place.
Because you cannot have they defiled those by sacrificing unclean animals on those stones.
And when as they consulted what to do with the altar of burnt offerings, which was profaned, they thought it best to pull it down, lest it should be a reproach to them, because the heathen had defiled it, wherefore they pulled it down.
All right, go ahead.
And laid up the stones in the mountain of the temple in a convenient place, until there should come a prophet to show what should have been done with them.
Hey, Tashawn, give me Exodus 20. It might be. It's not 29. Probably 23, 24 about whole stones. If thou buildest an altar.
Deuteronomy 27.
It probably said there, but this is the original place. It said Exodus 20.
23 or 24.
Exodus 20
25.
and verse, around some 20, 23, 20, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got it right here. But,
I turn right to the chapter.
start at verse 20. Start at verse 24, and then it goes down to 25.
The book of Exodus, chapter 20, and verse 24. An altar of earth thou shalt make unto me, and shalt sacrifice thereon thy burnt offerings and thy peace offerings, thy sheep and thine oxen. In all places where I record my name, I will come unto thee, and I will bless thee. And if thou wilt make me an altar of stone, thou shalt not build it of hewn stone. For if thou lift up thy tool upon it, thou hast polluted it. Neither shalt thou go up by steps into mine altar, that thy nakedness be not discovered thereon.
So it's no surprise that they keep talking about the law, because they are sons of Aaron, man. They're the priesthood. So they know the ordinances, they know the laws. Verse 47. Yeah.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 4, and verse 47. Then they took whole stones according to the law, and built a new altar according to the former.
Right. And what that goes into is Christ. Christ is the altar. He's also the stone. If you change him in any way, you have defiled him. That's what they've done in Christianity. You're not supposed to put a tool upon him. You're supposed to get straight up Christ. And they ain't doing that.
See, these are all similar tools and stuff. People like you have to understand, because we're not worshiping no stones, man. Got that last week too, man. We're not worshiping no stones, man. People try to say that, don't understand it, man. Verse 48. And made up the sanctuary and the things that were within the temple, and hallowed the courts.
Mm-hmm.
They made also new holy vessels, and into the temple they brought the candlestick, and the altar of burnt offerings, and of incense, and the table. And upon the altar they burnt incense, and the lamps that were upon the candlestick they lighted, that they might give light in the temple. Furthermore, they set the loaves upon the table.
Damn, hold up, yo. And upon the altar they burned incense, and the lamps that were upon the candlestick they lighted, that they might give light in the temple. Man, that's you. Your candlestick better be burning in your temple. Give you light. Like Christ said in Matthew 5 about nobody puts a candlestick under
the table.
Yeah, but you put it on top so
you can light up the room.
Yeah.
I go over that with my kids so much because they're young, and I'm trying to teach them how to be a good example and what that light is and how we're supposed to shine. Constantly go over that with my kids.
Verse 51.
Furthermore, they set the loaves upon the table and spread out the veils and finished all the works which they had begun to make. Now on the 25th day of the 9th month, which is called the month Caslu, in the 148th year, they rose up betimes in the morning and offered sacrifice according to the law upon the new altar of burnt offerings, which they made. Look at what time and what day the heathen had profaned it, even in that was it dedicated with songs and citherns and harps and cymbals. Then all the people fell upon their faces, worshiping and praising the God of heaven, who had given them good success.
Who had given them good success. So that makes me think, because, you have some people they're naysayers that say, well, this is not ordained by God, so we shouldn't celebrate it. Or I saw one dude saying it was pagan.
To do
I was
feast
like,
of dedication?
bro, how the hell is the Feast of Dedication pagan? And he didn't answer. But the Feast of Dedication is no different from Purim, which is Mordecai's day, Day of Simon and stuff like that. It's a memorial.
But they celebrate July the 4th.
Right. Your forefathers was on the plantation.
Right.
But you got a problem with us doing the things the Lord said do.
Some of them may have fought in the war. Guess what? Right after the war, they went right back to the plantation.
I
I don't know what they was fighting. Well, They might have.
They did. And
Yeah,
if you
I
got
forgot.
caught, if you got caught by the Southerners, you got no quarter. They killed you all if they caught you. What was that book where you was laughing about lies across America? It's in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they didn't give us no quarter. They gave the white folks quarter, but no quarter. No quarter means they killed you all. That's how they treated us. But yeah, some people argue about that, and then of course, John 10:22. Somebody was saying this a few years back. Uriah posted this, and I started laughing because I was saying to myself, "You beat me to it."
The book of St. John, chapter 10, and verse 22. And it was at Jerusalem, the feast of the dedication, and it was winter. And Jesus walked in the temple in Solomon's porch.
So Solomon's porch is the entrance to the temple. So there, he's at the temple for the feast. So he went to the feast. We have a feast. We can't do it in Jerusalem, but we have a feast amongst ourselves.
How can you even speak against following Christ's footsteps literally?
And the whole
But you're going to defend why you can put a tree in your living room.
right.
Because the church said so.
Oh yeah,
There you go. Yeah.
That's literally what the guy said. This is church's tradition. So you follow the church instead of Christ.
Y'all gonna laugh at this next verse.
And then came the Jews round about him and said unto him, How long dost thou make us to doubt? If thou be the Christ, tell us plainly.
Where you
Oh, I'm still in John.
at? Oh yeah.
My bad. I know you went back to Maccabees. The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 4 and verse 56.
Dang, okay, my bad. We back in Maccabees.
And so they kept the dedication of the altar 8 days, and offered burnt offerings with gladness, and sacrificed the sacrifice of deliverance and praise. They decked also the forefront of the temple with crowns of gold, and with shields, and the gates and the chambers they renewed, and hanged doors upon them.
Did that say deck the tree?
Mm-mm.
With crowns of gold.
They decked the halls. Oh, no, I didn't say that either.
I said the tree.
Oh, that's funny, man.
Ain't no old Christmas tree over here.
Right.
Verse 58. Thus was there very great gladness among the people, for that the reproach of the heathen was put away.
Oh my goodness.
Like
Great.
I said, they make
gladness.
it grievous for us, man.
Right. Right. Very great gladness among the people, for that the reproach of the heathen was put away. That's how we feel when after New Year's and they start taking all them lights down and Christmas trees.
Like, this is the worst time of year. I'm out there trying to get ready for dedication. You got lines wrapped around Walmart getting last minute Christmas gifts and stuff. I was like, man, I just need some butter and some eggs, man. Let me get a
It's so bad. It's so people have so much pressure on them. They go out and they steal and rob folks.
And not only that, then you get the ones that aren't even grateful for the stuff they get. Literally, got to your house, cut social media on. Boyfriend mad because he didn't get a gift, so he destroying all the girls' kids' gifts. That's the Christmas. That's the Christmas spirit.
Even in my family,
That's the Christmas spirit.
Even in my family, the aunt I live with, she got mad because certain family members didn't give her a gift. She wasn't mad, but she was like, "It's crazy how only certain family members got the gifts."
It's supposed to be about Christ, though.
Right.
Come on, bro. Like,
Go get your frankincense and myrrh and light an incense to the Lord.
Did somebody get killed a couple years ago because they got a better gift?
It was like a sibling. It was a sibling.
Yeah.
Yeah. That happens almost every year. Unfortunately, I'm waiting for that story again to come out. Because I feel like it happened.
Days.
The last couple of years, I feel like this happened. I feel like that story is similar to that has happened.
Yeah, she said it to me. I'm like, okay. No, that's bad.
But that boyfriend messing up the kids' gifts because he didn't get one from the girlfriend, that is insane. Like, that's the spirit y'all want to be moving in, but it's gonna put it on Christ.
Even the kids don't care about Christ.
Definitely don't. Unless
they care about them gifts.
they might be in the Christmas play and all that, but they can't wait to just see how many things they get.
When they don't get a gift, you know what they be like? Oh boy, when they gave him the microphone at church.
I hate you.
He said,
What he say? I ain't seen that video in a long time. Dang.
he said, I hate this church.
Oh, and then you heard this straight women.
Yeah, everybody.
They all offended, and for what? All right, let's finish this.
Believe we're on verse 59. Moreover, Judas and his brethren with the whole congregation of Israel ordained that the days of the dedication of the altar should be kept in their season from year to year, by the space of 8 days, from the 25th day of the month of Caslu, with mirth and gladness. At that time also they builded up the Mount Zion with high walls and strong towers round about, lest the Gentiles should come and tread it down, as they had done before.
As they had done before. These people are crazy, man.
Hey, yo. I looked up the month Caslu. Caslu is the Hebrew name for the 9th month of the Jewish calendar, which corresponds to the months of November and December in the Gregorian calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we're always within a week. We're usually 2 weeks from Christmas or right at Christmas. It's, you know how our calendar
depending on the
is.
moon.
Yeah.
Verse 61. And they set their garrison to keep it, and fortified Bethsura to preserve it, and that the people might have a defense against Idumea.
Against Idumea. Not long after this comes Herod and them from Idumea, our enemies, and killing the children, kill Christ, jailed out people, Agrippa and all them, right out of Idumea.
The feast of dedication, or Enkenias, is celebrated on the 25th day of Caslu.
Yep, 25th day of Caslu. Now, let's close out. Let me see. Oh, I know what I want to close out with. Since the Maccabees keep talking about the law, Psalms 118. Oh no, I want Psalms 119, verse 18 is what I want.
The book of Psalms, chapter 119 and verse 18. Open thou mine eyes, that I may behold wondrous things out of thy law.
Right. All the wisdom and understanding that the Lord gave to Israel is in his commandments. And he sent his son to explain them to us, to give us, to open our understandings on those commandments. And the prophets. He came to do that for us, to give us a way to make peace with our God so we don't have to go through these things anymore. And we're in the midst of it right now. We're going to go through some tribulation shortly. But we have a way through Christ. Matter of fact, one more scripture.
I was about to read some over here too, because this going how we started.
Go ahead. And I'm going to
Book of Psalms, chapter 119, verse 33. Teach me, O Lord, the way of thy statutes, and I shall keep it unto the end. Give me understanding, and I shall keep thy law. Yea, I shall observe it with my whole heart. Make me to go in the path of thy commandments, for therein do I delight. Jump down to verse 40. Behold, I have longed after thy precepts. Quicken me in thy righteousness.
Change me in thy righteousness. All right, last one. Revelation chapter 12 and verse 11. I got it.
Oh, okay.
It says, and they overcame him by the blood and the Lamb. Let's give it some context, because we get accused of not reading in context. Verse 9, and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil
And
Satan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. I said this several times in case you missed it. The devil and Satan right here is talking about Benjamin Netanyahu and those Jewish people in our homeland. They're getting cast out. Now, verse 11. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of the testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. Man, I lied, yo. I lied.
Where you going?
Exodus 17 and verse 9. Exodus 17. They overcame. Who did we overcome? Like I said, Netanyahu and those Jewish people. Go ahead.
You want
Exodus
9 or 11?
Start at 9.
The book of Exodus, chapter 17 and verse 9.
8. Start at 8.
8. Then came Amalek and fought with Israel in Rephidim.
That's who the main battle is. Yes, it's the so-called white man and the Christians, but at the top of it is Amalek, the devil and Satan. Amalek, he's the dragon. They're the head of them. Go ahead.
And Moses said unto Joshua, choose us out men and go out, fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on the top of the hill with the rod of God in mine hand.
Right, with the rod of God in my hand. Go ahead.
So Joshua did as Moses had said to him, and fought with Amalek. And Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to pass, when Moses held up his hand, that Israel prevailed. And when he let down his hand, Amalek prevailed.
Go ahead.
But Moses' hands were heavy, and they took a stone.
A stone. They took a stone,
And
a tried stone, a precious stone. Damn. Go ahead.
and put it under him, and he sat thereon. And Aaron and Hur stayed up his hands, the one on the one side, and the other on the other side. And his hands were steady until the going down of the sun.
Keep going, man.
And
Damn.
Joshua discomfited Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword.
Mm.
And the Lord said unto Moses, write this for a memorial in a book, and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua. For I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven.
And you know what the sword is today? Because the Lord has chosen out able men to go against Amalek today. And the sword is the word of God. All praises to the Most High.
That was your, what you call it, drop bombs on it.
All right, y'all. That's been our class. The Maccabees, Feast of the Dedication.
So, spiritually, we got to clean out our temples daily
Yes.
and purify them. We don't have these abominable things unto the Lord.
No secret sins. We got to get ourselves together and find and be worthy to sit on that judgment seat. Because you do not want to sit on that judgment seat. You want to avoid that altogether. We want to be like when Christ comes, we want to leave with him then. We don't want to have to be woken up out of sleep and then be judged and then get put right back to death.
Mm.
We don't want that. Damn, man. Daniel 12, man. Daniel 12. I'm sorry. Can't leave him hanging. Daniel 12 and 1.
The book of Daniel, chapter 12 and verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. Mm-hmm. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book.
The Lamb's book of life. Go ahead.
And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt.
That's doing that judgment. Damn. Some to everlasting life and some to everlasting shame and contempt. They gone. They done. All right. That's our class, y'all. With that, I'm Brother Jacob.
Brother Roy.
And Tashawn on OBS. With that, we say shalom.
Shalom.